WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app.
Ladies and gentlemen and lowlifes, welcome. The War Room brings you another episode of Inside the War Room. I'm here with my brothers Dev.
What up, though?
Jimmy Williams, fresh off of injured reserve.
At JW the Blueprint. That's right there.
And I am your host and moderator, B to the MFN Austin. We want to talk a little bit about Russell Westbrook. He's a bit of a polarizing figure in the NBA. There are those of you who poop on him for gunning too much. There are those of you who appreciate not just his great athleticism, but his competitive greatness and the edge that he brings to the game of basketball. But, we felt as though we owe it to him, especially within the context of the season that he's having, which is really a historic season, to talk a little bit about the dude. So, Devin, your thoughts on Russell overall and him coming out of UCLA, where he's gotten to now, where he ranks, and then Jimmy, of course, we want to hear from you as well on those topics.
Russell Westbrook has always been the type of player that I like. Like you said, he's polarizing. A lot of people, in my estimation, don't like to give him his credit where it's due. And even though he's in the midst of the run that he's in, and by the time you guys see this video, he probably will still be sitting on 4 straight games with triple doubles. And who knows how long that streak is gonna play out. But all we hear about, or all we used to hear about, was the Thunder won't win anything unless Russell Westbrook is gone from the team, and I always thought that to be bullshit. To be quite frank about it, Russell Westbrook, much in the mold of a Kobe Bryant, was placed on a team with a dominating superstar, and that's just circumstantial. But in no way is Russell Westbrook anybody's sidekick. I think at this point in his career, he's a top 5 player right along with his teammate Kevin Durant. I think he might be one of the front runners, maybe top 2 or 3 for the NBA MVP award at this point, which Kevin Durant won last year. And I think whatever the Thunder end up doing this year, and you guys know, when we did our preseason predictions, the Thunder are my pick to win the NBA Finals, and I'm not backing down off of that, because I think even if they squeak in at the 7th or 8th seed, I still think this team is dangerous as long as they can stay healthy. So I think that it's still a possibility, but I think whatever they do, it might hinge more on the performance of Russell Westbrook this season than even that of Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and argue about who's the best player between the two, but this is the closest thing we have in the NBA, in my opinion, to a 1A and 1B situation. And I just don't understand why a lot of people out there won't give this man his credit. Like, what is it about him?
Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Russ?
Now, for those that listen to our award-winning podcast, you can go back to episode, I think it was about 218, and I've said there in several podcasts after that he's the 3rd best player in the league. And if you remember last season, when the season ended, I said that he was more important to OKC than Kevin Durant. I didn't say he was a better player, but I think that he's more important to the success of the team than Kevin Durant. I thought that last season. I don't think that just this season. I thought that last season, even the season before, because of the amount of pressure that he puts on the defense. Now,
Boy, ain't lying. He did say it.
No, we know what he can do in terms of like filling up the bucket and what kind of a great player he is. And in my rankings of the best players in the league, or the universe, as Devin hates when we say, LeBron will be 1, Durant there at 2, and I had Westbrook at 3, believe it or not. A lot of people thought Derrick Rose would be that player, but we know what's happened with Rose and not able to stay healthy. But they're kind of cut from the same cloth, and he's a monster. He's definitely a great player. This is not some now look what he's doing. Let's give him his props. I've been seeing this for a while. Right. That's the great thing about having the podcast and these videos. Just document it. He's the 3rd best player in the NBA.
Everything's on the record. I tell people that every day.
Yeah, he's the 3rd best player in the universe. And now with Durant being out, he's able to shine and show that he is just that good of a player. It's kind of crazy because a lot of the hate that he gets is because people love Durant so much. It's sort of like they're making like you can't like both of them, which makes no sense to me.
I like both of them. I'm a big fan of both of them.
It does kind of
That's the
remind
way the masses work.
Remind you of the whole Kobe Shaq thing. It's like people would take sides, like you can't appreciate both of them, and that's just ridiculous.
Kobe, Mike.
It's just ridiculous. It's sort of like I know that Durant erased it at this point, but on his Instagram, someone told Kevin Durant, "Hey, he's better than you," and his response was, "So what? We're on the same team." Richard had, but he didn't say Richard. But anyway, and that's the point. They're in the same team, so on each other. It's just sad that we don't get to see them play at the same time due to these injuries. And then I think further than that, how well they drafted. And just because of the salary cap now, they don't have Harden. Just imagine they had drafted Harden, Durant amongst those MVP candidates, like Devin said. So they could have had all those guys. That's crazy.
I as you can tell, viewers, WRS is pretty much pro Westbrook. We all have an appreciation for his game. Jimmy has him ranked third. I've got him ranked in somewhere between top 5 and top 7. He is by far one of the most competitive players in the league. And on the court, you often hear me kind of talk about the new ninja syndrome and these new guys and the way that, competition isn't really, a core thing for them. It's more about their brands. It's more about the lifestyle or whatever. With Russell Westbrook, outside of the way he dresses, which is ridiculous, I think that he is very much a throwback player in terms of his attitude. He's got a nasty attitude. He wants to win. He plays on both ends of the floor. Now, he gets his ass cracked from time to time, but
this league, you can't help but to get cracked.
Yeah, you can't if you play D. Like, he's one of those guys that's not scared of the challenge of playing D. He looks at it, I can tell by the way he plays, he kind of looks at it in two ways. It's like, look, I'm going to lock you up. Now, if I can't lock you up, then I'm damn sure not letting you lock me up. So either we both draw. Either I can get my gun out first and kill you, or we both just shooting at each other. Like, that's his approach to the game, and I love it. I think it's great. It's entertaining, and it leads to wins. I have a theory about Harden leaving, because I feel as though Harden leaving has helped Russell Westbrook in the expansion and growth of his game. Devin, talk to me a little bit about what you've seen in terms of Russell Westbrook's growth and progression from when he entered the league as just basically coming in as an athlete from Planet of the Apes to where he is now. What have you seen him grow into?
Well, I think a lot of the criticism that Russell Westbrook has gotten over the years has been linked to him being a little bit out of control at times. But he's an aggressive type of player. I mean, he's cleaned that up, but I think no matter how old he gets, no matter how good he gets, no matter how polished he gets, he's always going to have that wild moment every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But
I'm cool with that.
Not the aggression. He came in, like you said, just as a raw, talented athlete, and I think he's basically expanded on every aspect of his game. Like he shoots the three better than he used to. I'm not really sure of his percentages. His mid-range pull-up has probably taken over as the best in the game at this point, because you don't really see too many guys even doing that. But he puts so much pressure on you with his quick first step. Like, you're on your heels as soon as he starts to move, and then he pulls it up. And it seems like he floats there for a minute to concentrate and make sure his shot is what it needs to be. So I think that's a strong part of his game. And the fact that he just doesn't back down from any challenges, he's always ready to go at whoever's on the other side. Now, people who still try to, be a little bit on the side of Westbrook detractor, I think the argument that they still make is for him as a point guard. And I remember we went through this with Allen Iverson. At this point of his career, Russell Westbrook to me is just a guard. As a matter of fact, he's just a basketball player. trying to pigeonhole him as a point guard, for a position. I mean, people criticize him as a point guard, but I think that's something that you need to talk to his coach about. Because his coach decides to play him at the point guard position, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that should garner the criticism, the personal criticism that he gets, because I think he does the best that he can with his abilities playing that particular position when it's obvious that Russell Westbrook is a shooting guard. I'm not even going to say in a point guard's body. I mean, he's big enough to play either position. Let me give you a little context on the current run that he's on. We spoke about him posting a triple-double in his last 4 games. Now, he missed one game in between all of this with a facial fracture or something like that. But against Indiana, he had 20 points, 10 assists, and 11 rebounds. Against Phoenix, he had 39 points, 11 assists, and 14 rebounds. Against Portland, he put up 40 points, 11 assists, 13 rebounds. And against our lowly Philadelphia 76ers and in their last game, he put up 49 points, 10 assists, and 16 rebounds. So it seems like even his triple-double numbers in this little run are getting more monstrous by the game.
He shat on us.
And at this point, like I said, we're not prisoners of the moment. This is not a let's talk about Russell Westbrook because he put up 4 straight triple doubles. Like Jimmy said, this is stuff that we've been saying individually for years, but we're at a point like, okay, now that he's on this type of run, what else does he have to do to get props, to get respect from some of the detractors? Because I still see people this week on social media, in conversations talking about what Russell Westbrook isn't, but they're not acknowledging what he is.
But you know what, though? That's going to be there regardless. He could win MVP. They could win the finals. They're still detractors of LeBron. They're still detractors of Jordan. I mean, they're still detractors of everyone. I mean, that's just the way it is. He's never going to be able to please anybody. And the whole concept of point guard, center, small forward, power, I think that's antiquated. At this point, we have guards and forwards. We don't even have centers no more. And if you ever notice, even back in the day, when you get into the playoffs in the crunch situation, you put your best players out there. Position doesn't matter. And there's times when the OKC gets down when he's on the floor with another point guard. So he plays multiple positions. So the whole thing of trying to pigeonhole any player into a specific position, that's antiquated. That's old basketball. That's not how basketball is played anymore. At this point, you just have bigs and you have guards. I mean, it's just that simple. So it doesn't matter what he's going to do. He's going to always have his detractors, and a lot of that is because of the love for Kevin Durant, which in turn goes to the dislike of LeBron. So a lot of people who hate LeBron jump to Kevin Durant, and because they want to protect Durant, they take away from Westbrook and put all the blame on him.
Psychology, it's definitely psychology.
But at the end of the day, man, I mean, it's not even about the stats. For me, it's about the pressure. When you watch them play with him in the lineup, the pressure that he puts on the other team defense changes everything. So if we were to count assists the way hockey does, my man may average 25 assists because of the pressure he puts on defenses. He makes a pass, and then the second pass comes in his open shots. There's so many open shots when he plays, and a lot of them you won't even see on the stat sheet. Right. But that's why, to me, he's more important to the team's success than even a Kevin Durant. If you actually watch the games, don't watch the highlights, watch them play, and you'll see the pressure I'm talking about. And you see sometimes the second to third pass, but it's all a result of the amount of pressure that he puts on playing basketball. Forget position.
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, didn't Jalen Rose say something like positions were created to help people who don't know anything about the game understand the game? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
The actual positions were, and this is a paraphrase as well, positions were created for people who don't know the game of basketball to help the novice or the stupid person follow the game.
Exactly.
And there's truth in that. Shout out to Jalen Rose for saying it, because it's actual truth in that. Because if you look the way they play now, that's all out the window. It's all out the window. You have guards and forwards. Like I said, the center position really doesn't even exist anymore.
The Europeans' influx has changed that, and a lot of and also, people not being trained to be quality post players. But that's another topic. I want to talk about two other things. Number one, I want to talk about the comparison between Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose a little bit more, because they came in together. They were close, or are close, athletically in their ability. I've always looked at Russell as being a little better than Derrick Rose because it feels like Derrick Rose is trying very hard to be a point guard and what people want him to be versus Russell, who just doesn't give a F, and he's letting it fly. If he gets an assist, he gets an assist. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But he's doing.
I think Rose plays that way as well. Like I think Rose plays that way. They're to me, watching them both play, they are very, very similar. And it's it's sad to see this guy not able to live up to his potential so far with all these injuries. Now don't feel sad for him overall because he's still collecting a check.
$250 million.
And gets to play for his home team. But with that being said, they have always reminded me of each other in terms of how they play. And he's also that guy that puts a lot of pressure on the opposing defense. I don't see him trying to be a traditional point guard, if that's what you were trying to say, like trying to live up to what people want him to be, because he plays the same way. That MVP season, he played with reckless abandon, put pressure on the other team's defense, and put up amazing numbers. Now, granted, he didn't have to play with the other superstar or share the ball somewhat, so he didn't have so Westbrook wasn't getting the same level of attention. Also, he's playing for Chicago, which is different than playing for OKC. Whether people want to believe that or not, that does make a difference. But I think they're very similar in terms of player. What's going to happen now with Rose coming back, I don't know. And I also think about this for Westbrook. The way he does play, can he last a long time playing that way?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. That's one thing that I think about. Can he sustain that? Because even when you bring up the comparison to someone like AI was cut from a different cloth. This dude played through so many injuries, but he was always injured. I don't know how long you can play that way. He plays basketball like a running back.
Right. And these guys are bigger. I was going to ask the comparison, going back generationally. I think it's a natural comparison when you talk about scoring guards, scoring smaller guards to bring up Allen Iverson. So that's natural. We know Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, all of those guys are going to get compared to AI. But who are some of the other comparisons that you can make with Russell Westbrook's game, Dev?
With his game
and attitude.
Like
fat lever.
Yeah, for me, I'm not just going with cats who are classified as point guards
or superstars. Yeah. It doesn't have to be that.
And I don't think he's as polished as this guy, but just the way he's so relentless. I'm telling you, when I think of Westbrook sometimes now, I think of him going in the direction of like a modern day Kobe Bryant. I don't know if he'll ever reach that point, that level of greatness.
Skill level.
I actually see it when Kobe is always asked about him, because I think Westbrook is one of the only players in this league that Kobe respects on a certain level because he sees a little bit of himself in him. You said something earlier that it's one of the reasons why I make this comparison, because Westbrook gets all kinds of criticism and he just doesn't give a fuck. Like, he doesn't care what you think and how wild he played at this particular possession or who he didn't pass the ball to. He's going to be him on every single night. And we've seen other cats go out there, and you can tell by the way they're playing that they hear the criticism or that they're letting the criticism in.
Derrick Rose thing. Here's the criticism.
Yeah, back to that Derrick Rose thing, because I agree with Jimmy. These two players have always reminded me of each other. Derrick Rose, when he was in his MVP run, I would say that he was better because he basically got a chance to prove he was better because he was the focal point of his team. While, Kevin Durant was, that guy in OKC. Russell Westbrook, in my eyes, has certainly surpassed him now, even if it's only because Derrick Rose hadn't played basketball in the last 10 years. But but Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, is the better of the two now. And I think I would go as far as saying that he's probably the best overall guard in the league right now. For me, that's between Russell Westbrook and the beard, James Harden. Harden's game, I think, is a little smoother than Westbrook's. Westbrook's a little more explosive, even though Harden
Harden is secretly,
explosive as well. But that's if you have to compare these two and you say, okay, they can both do what the other can do offensively, you have to go to the defensive end, whereas Westbrook isn't this lockdown defender, but he is a good defender and he gives maximum effort.
We can't say that
Whereas
about the
James Harden, I think it's mostly an effort thing because anybody that athletic, if you decide in your mind that I want to be a defender, can be a defender. But
Man,
that
he's saving
effort
that energy.
isn't always
He's saving
there.
that energy
He's
for
good
the
on
other
the
side of the
ball.
floor, though.
He's
not
all
good.
right on the ball.
When
He's like,
wants
look,
to.
I'm not wasting that energy on this side of the floor. I
Listen,
need that
I got-
energy.
man,
I got
the beard-
things.
yo, the
I got
beard
things to do
he's
down
up.
there. I got things
Yo,
to do.
listen, though,
I'm not doing.
You know I agree with that assessment. I think he's the third best overall player in the entire universe, which has to make him the best guard, by proxy, because the only two guys I have above him is his teammate and LeBron.
Jim said
but-
the universe. I got a cat up on Sector 10 past Saturn.
Nah,
who
the
might be
Monstars
a
can't
little
mess
better
with us.
than this dude.
Mike proved the Monstars can't mess with us. But listen, though, that's my concern is how long can they keep playing this way?
Mhm.
And also,
Yeah, I agree.
what's going to happen with that team success now with Durant being injured? Like, I just want to see what's going to happen. Austin, to your earlier point, I don't know whether like Harden going somewhere else, helped his game. It may have, just in terms of giving him the ability to have the ball in his hands more.
Helped his
But-
numbers.
Decision making.
The numbers as well. But when you
He
just think about the
makes
fact
better
that
decisions now.
the team drafted those guys, it's kind of unfortunate because of the salary caps and all those other things. But they literally drafted 3 of the top, say, 5-7 players in the world.
In the league, right?
And,
Exactly.
yeah, in this day and age, in OKC,
Shout
they
out,
drafted.
shout out to their GM, yo.
You know what I'm
Shout out to
saying?
their
And
GM,
now the
man.
thing is, if they would have kept Harden, they probably would have lost Ibaka. And you already have scoring on the wing from Durant and Westbrook.
But
so
Ibaka is a
what's
wing
the decision?
player now anyway. He plays like
yeah, I don't know what's up with dude, man.
But-
Dude
but-
be shooting too many threes, man.
He can still get it down a little bit on the defensive end. So a lot of
He
people
will throw
say
it back
that.
in your face too.
Yeah, a lot of people always say, well, they blew it. They let Harden go. I never thought it was a possibility that they would keep Harden because Harden knows how good James Harden is. And Harden wasn't going to sit there and play third fiddle,
Yeah,
to
I
these
agree.
guys. He's not.
I agree.
He's not Chris Bosh. He's not.
I
in that
actually
mold.
think his team. And when I say his team, I mean his business manager, his agent. I think they all got together and decided to use the contract negotiations as an excuse to get out of town because it wasn't that much money difference. He couldn't stay there, and I respect him because he wanted to go and get his team. And now he has that opportunity. I'm not mad at that at all. They
And
couldn't
plus
have
the
stayed
fact,
together.
you know how calculating these athletes and their team and their agents are. I mean, by even entertaining the negotiations, it makes OKC look like the bad guys, the dummies. Oh, they let Harden go. He wanted to stay. They let Harden go. But sometimes you do when you have talent like Durant and Westbrook, you have to pick the big because. Okay, you keep those 3 together and you lose an Ibaka. We all know his rank in the NBA is nowhere near James Harden, but you're making a team here. You need pieces that fit the team. And to this day, I still don't think, even if he was going to stay, I don't think they made the wrong decision.
It wasn't a bad decision for either party, but it's just amazing to look back when you look at the landscape of the league right now.
Yeah.
And you look back at the players, you know what I mean? Like what you could have had because times are different now. Like when you look at the Lakers and the moves that they made in the early 80s and drafting Magic and trading for Kareem and then being able to draft Worthy, they didn't have the same, salary cap issues and things like that. So they were able to keep together a nucleus of those great players. You know what I mean? Like even if you look at the Boston teams, how loaded they were, but now I don't know if we'll ever see that without the super team. I mean, now they're on top of each other after the fact.
Plus, this is different because people will probably point to what Miami did over that 4-year span. You have to realize that these guys are in Oklahoma City. They're not in Miami. So even if you paid 3 guys the bulk of the salary cap,
Ain't nobody else coming.
Like, you're not going to get good players to come there for less money because there's no incentive. You got good players.
Play where? These Cavs?
Good players, good veterans came to join the Heat because they look, I'm going to get a title probably, and I get to live in Miami. So I'll take that pay cut, but I'm not doing that to live in Oklahoma City where, I might get bombed or something. Come on, man.
Yo! Listen, man, this is why Big City
Yeah.
Gym, man.
Hey,
I
man,
propose that we consolidate the league and just play in major cities, man. That's what we do with the small towns, man.
Big Market Gym. Big Market Gym is back.
That's right, baby.
Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, on Russell Westbrook, and of course, please, viewers, we need your comment. If you disagree with any of the three of us, it's a free country, a free world. We would love to destroy you in a debate.
You can freely get roasted.
Feel free to comment and get roasted if you disagree with us on Russell Westbrook. But any closing or parting thoughts, gentlemen?
For me, I just want to reiterate the point. I did say I think Russell Westbrook is the best overall guard in the league now. Like I said, offensively, he and Harden can do the same thing because Harden can play point guard just as well as any other person in the league as well. But you have to. It's two sides to the ball. Give that man his props, everybody out there, and you know who you are, because I talk to a lot of y'all every day. I don't know why you don't like the dude. Give him his props, man. He's balling. He's always been a baller. That's all I got, man.
Now, all I want to say is that again, I do think he's the third best player in the entire world. I'm interested to see where the MVP race goes because it seems to be like a four-man race with Curry, Harden, Westbrook, and now LeBron, even after the All-Star break, is like, he pressed the button, which shows basically that he was giving minimum effort the first half. But anyway, I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yo, my man took a vacation in the middle of the season.
Yeah, he did. He took a vacation. But also, in terms of the people that hate Westbrook,
a selfie in the mirror.
In terms of people that hate Westbrook, like you're going to hate him anyway and keep hating him because to me, like I think that's part of what fuels him. I think he likes that.
Yeah.
So,
That's
he needs that.
That's why he screams after every shot. He's screaming at people. Like, he's angry.
Angry black man.
So keep the hate up. I mean, the man's amazing. He's one of those guys that all the people that hate him, if he played for their team, they would love him. Oh, yeah. So, again, I've been saying this for a while that he's that good of a player. We'll see what happens with the MVP race. I also want to see what happens when Durant comes back because part of me feels like the tide's turning and like Durant's going to fall in line.
Back a little bit.
Yeah,
Durant may fall.
But you know what's funny though? If you watch Durant, in terms of his social media personality and his presence when he talks to the media, he's getting a little attitude now. I think that Westbrook is like
that's from Westbrook
because people keep telling him.
I think Westbrook is rubbed off on him. Pause because he's starting to change his personality, or he's just getting tired of it. Because remember. Wasn't that the paper disrespected him on OKC, like said that he didn't show up or something like that?
Yeah, but
ever since then he's had a little attitude.
If these two players can take all of the slights against them or whatever's making them angry, and that fueled them, and it fueled them in a way where they're not being selfish with each other, because it's not the other person that's, throwing anything in the other person's face.
Yeah.
It could be a very dangerous team.
Yo,
Here's
my last thing, B. Austin. I'm going to give it back to you so we can get out of here. My last thing. The thing about the whole Shaq-Kobe thing is they never got along. Because Shaq definitely wasn't a hard worker. Shaq wanted to win chips, but he also wanted to party, and Kobe didn't kind of understand that. So for me, these guys both seem like hard workers. So I think they possibly can make it work in a way that Shaq and Kobe didn't because we all remember. When Shaq and Kobe won that first chip, everybody was like, yo, they about to, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't know just how bad they hated each other. That came out later.
Yo, I agree. And OKC as a team, obviously I'm a Philadelphia 76ers fan. But it's unrealistic.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's unrealistic for me to bring up the word championship and 76ers. So, as far as OKC is concerned, that whole team, with the exception of Serge Ibaka, shooting, three-pointers. That team, in a lot of ways, represents a lot of the things that I'm about in terms of competitive greatness. I see in those young guys, and I like it. Russ, I respect him. He goes at Kobe. Even when he was a young pup and he didn't have any game, he was going at Kobe. I respected that. We do disagree, Devin, because I do put the beard ahead of Westbrook, but he's still top five. Both of them are definitely top five for me. As I said before, viewers, man, we thank you for the support. We appreciate you. We would be something without you, but we're more with you. And definitely leave your comments. Make sure that you subscribe. WarRoomSportsTV.com is the YouTube channel, one of the best in the universe. WRSPN.com is the podcast network. And then make sure you visit us on all social media. We're everywhere. We're on Facebook. We're on Tumblr. We're on Twitter. We're on Pinterest for the ladies. God dog it. We're everywhere. So, as we always say, do not ever accept mediocrity and be steadfast in your war against ignorance.
See you chumps on top.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table, 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.